Hey guys, Dr. Anthony Davis at the Davis Medical Group in East Texas. Today we're going to talk about fasting. Everything you want to know about fasting, or at least the basics. So we'll give you the top 5 or so things that I want you to know about fasting and the power of fasting. Please click the subscribe button down below. There's a little bell that shows up next to that. You click that, it'll chime in. Watch this video from beginning to end and really absorb the knowledge. And watch my other videos. I think I'm doing my part to try to give you all the knowledge that you need and really share how successful we've been in this practice with the advice that we're given. So when we say fasting, a lot of people think of these kind of biblical references of fasting where, 30 days without food, 40 days without food. That's not what we're talking about. I think that in the grand scheme of things, we need to think about fasting as what we're supposed to do regularly. What we were never intended to do, I don't think, as humans would be to eat all the time. Not just meals, but snacks. Whenever we're hungry, we're not supposed to eat. Hunger is a sign that maybe we're due for routine feeding, but you remember, the resources are supposed to be pretty limited, and you're supposed to be pretty frugal with the stuff that you find when you're out gathering. We have invented this world of tons and tons and tons of food at our fingertips waiting for us. And that leads to significant overeating. And if you overfeed a human, just like if you overfeed a pet dog or a zoo animal, that animal gets fat. You ever seen somebody with a very fat animal? It's not the animal's fault. That's the animal being fed way too often. Does it like it? Yes. Does it know how to look hungry? Yes. Does it pull at your heartstrings so you give it a snack and overfeed it? Yes. Well, guess what? You do the same thing to yourself, and advertisers do that to you every time you turn on the TV or drive by the restaurant. I was on the phone yesterday sitting in front of a Dairy Queen on a phone call, and while I sat there, I saw a picture of Blizzard 10 times flash across the screen. I wanted a Blizzard. I don't eat sugar, and I wanted a Blizzard by the time I sat there. The subliminal advertisement is ridiculous. So what's the first thing I want you to know? Eating 3 times a day is not fasting. Although you do naturally fast every day. You stop eating at a certain time at night, you sleep all night long, and then you wake up and you start eating again. That nighttime gap was fasting. So you do fast every day during your sleep. What we're wanting to do is to figure out a way to do that more and in depth. And why? Because your body, when it's being constantly fed, doesn't really go into a repair mode or a rebuilding mode. And so fasting is going to trigger that. I would encourage you to get this book, Dr. Fung's Guide to Fasting. It's a good one. It's everything you ever wanted to know about fasting, and it defines it in 100 different ways. That's what I want you to know. Anything but eating 3 times a day is fasting. So we're going to try to change the concept that you got to eat 3 square meals a day. That's ridiculous and not human advice. How's that working for you? Number 2, we want you to know that it's normal to fast. That's what you did, 100,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago. You ate when you ate and you fasted when you didn't eat. And fasting was something that was forced upon you more often than not. And so your body became very skilled and very good at fasting. If you have fat on your body now, you have not fasted enough and you have been overfed. Okay? We all do. We all do, some more than others. But if you ever do go on a diet that includes fasting, you burn those extra calories off when you need them. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to constantly store fat. You're supposed to store a little, burn a little, store a little, burn a little. And if you need to lose more, then you burn a little more than you store, and you catch up to the point where you're a much healthier size. So number 3 thing I want you to know about fasting is that it's not just physical. It is hugely psychological. Hugely psychological. We have made food part of our daily, habitual, ritual. Breakfast for some people is religion. Dinner is religion. Family events are completely revolved around food for most people. And most of the food at those events that are so famous, like Grandma's cinnamon rolls or whether it's your Aunt Betty's famous pecan pie, well, guess what? All of that stuff is killing you. Not if you eat it once a year, like at Christmas, and that's the only time you have that food, but most people eat it pretty regular, but then we eat even more of it at that time. So remember, fasting is normal. Overeating is abnormal. And it's a psychological battle. So you have built these traditions and these like experiences where the funnest, most dearest times of your life are connected with the foods. And those foods are not like healthy. It's not like you're having grass-fed ribeye and that's your family celebration, although how wonderful that would be to create that as your family tradition. But it's not. It's desserts, and it's overeating, and it's all the bad stuff, all the casseroles and things. So it's time to make a change. You have to psychologically talk to yourself. You have to break it. You are addicted to those bad foods because they mean something to you. We've connected the dots from the time that you picked up, when grandparents pick up their little grandkids, what do? They take them straight to the ice cream parlor. They get them a Blizzard, They get them something, and that becomes the treat. And so you connect wonderful emotions with horrible food and overeating. And that is a constant struggle that we're going to battle. When I'm in weight loss clinic, I literally can see people's panic and sheer terror when I start saying no sugar. And I list the things that include sugar, and they're all just panic, bargaining, and denial and grief, literally grief, and addictive behavior with manipulation. Well, what about this? Can I use that? What about, can I use this too? What if I change it to this? What if I have that? No sugar. And more importantly, realize this is psychological. You have to break the pattern of eating. And that's what fasting is so powerful for, because if you go without a meal, you'll feel powerful. And most of you can't, or have never tried, or feel like you're gonna die. So that's the number 4 thing I want you to know about fasting. You won't die. Not only will you not die, you'll feel better than you have in a long time. When we're talking about fasting, we're talking about a time in which you don't eat. But you can eat every day and still fast. We're talking about a modern solution to a modern problem. And so we used to be forced to fast because food wasn't available all the time. We'd have to go looking for it. But now we're not forced. Now we have to choose to fast. We have to literally schedule not eating into our life. Think about that. You have to schedule not eating into your life. And until you take on fasting as a very structured thing, you're not going to do that. So our goal is to schedule this fasting in. So modern studies have shown a lot. If you haven't, Dr. Fung's book is great, but there's a video that has been made called Fasting, a Documentary. Now that is a good one. So if you haven't watched that, I think it's on the internet somewhere. Fasting, a Documentary. It includes Dr. Fung, F-U-N-G, in it. Basically, a lot of the science has shown that a 16-hour fast is a good start. So how would you do that in a normal day? So let's put some jargon out there. We're talking about a 16-8 fast. So that's the jargon. It'll be a 16 and a colon and number 8. So 16-8 fast. That means that you have an 8-hour eating window. So it could start at 11 and end at 7. It could start at noon and end at 8. But you don't start eating until a certain time. And ideally, it's not at 7 in the morning when you wake up. Stay fasting. Don't break your fast. Don't have breakfast until noon. And that's the first meal that you have. And then stop eating. Close the kitchen. Padlock the refrigerator. Padlock the pantry at 8 p.m. And so if you'll do that, it'll make a dramatic change in your health. And that is intermittent fasting. That is one of the many myriad ways of intermittent fasting. So that is the most powerful. And the studies, if you watch that video, I'm going to quote that video. The studies show that it needs to be done on a 5-2 pattern. So put that more jargon in there. 5 days on, 2 days off. Doesn't matter which 2 days. It doesn't have to be done all 7 days, basically, is the concept. We're trying to get into a modern rhythm. So in a modern rhythm, most people, Monday through Friday, have one pattern. Saturday and Sunday, they have a different pattern. So if Monday through Friday, you could put yourself on that noon to 8 eating window, you can do whatever you want on the weekends, timing-wise. And so a 16-8 daily fast and a 5-2 pattern is a very powerful tool. One little caveat there. If you can push that to an 18-hour window, to where you're going from like noon to 6 or noon to 7, and really extend that time frame out, a lot of good things start happening at that 16-hour mark. At that 18-hour mark. And so we're really trying to get there. So here's what I've chosen to do most of the time. On the 2 days that I work out heavy, I have breakfast immediately after my workout. So I still work out in a fasting state. And so you want to really get a lot of benefit from exercising before you eat. But then you want to feed that body immediately after exercise. It depends on the kind of workout. So I'm working out hard on those days, so I really feed myself immediately after. And all the rest of the time, though, I don't eat until noon. Now, if my body's crying out for food, I'll have something. So I listen to my body, but for the most part, I try to make it 16 hours a day of fasting. And the hardest part for me is after 8 p.m. It just is. The way my schedule goes, I wind up getting home at 7. And if I don't hurry up and get something in me, next thing I know, it's 8:30 and I've missed my eating window. So the goal is to be prepared and have that food quicker. I think that the fifth thing that I want you to know is that you should probably learn how to do a 24-hour fast. 24-hour fast, yet you can still eat every day? So let me give you that theory. So let's say you woke up one day on your 5-2 days, on your 2 days, and you had your breakfast and then you had lunch. Okay? What if you just didn't eat until the next lunch? So let's say Saturday you got up and you had breakfast and lunch, and then you didn't eat supper, and then you didn't eat breakfast, and you had lunch again on Sunday, for example. Well, guess what? That's a 24-hour fast. But all you did was miss a dinner and a breakfast. Now you are dramatically improving the physical benefits that come from fasting. Particularly, you go into more of a ketotic state, you burn more of your stored fat, and your blood sugar, believe it or not, levels out to a perfect number 24 hours a day because your body has fat adapted. It has started pulling your calories from the fat, and your body is not going to overfeed you. It's going to steadily bring the calories over in a nice conveyor belt style, and your blood sugar is just going to go boom and just be flat. So no spikes, no crashes, no hormonal hungers, no issues with that, no ups and downs, no low blood sugar episodes. If you give your body the chance, it will take over and start burning your fat stores because of fasting, and you'll get leaner and leaner and leaner, and you will not have cravings. Now, you're going to face the psychology that we talked about above in number 3, but at the same time, you'll get to a point where you'll realize that you have power over your hunger. Hunger comes in a wave. It's like a 20-minute wave. It just comes and comes and it beats up against the rocks, and then it just washes away. And 30 minutes in, there's no more hunger pain. And not only that, you feel great because guess what? You have months of stored calories around your waist and around your thighs. Just use it. It's time to use it. You're not going to use it until you start fasting. It is a part of a fundamental journey. So the journey would be no sugars, adequate protein, and learning how to intermittently fast, whether that's a 24-hour fast periodically, whether that's a 16-8 pattern, whether that's an 18-hour pattern, whether that's, there's 100 different ways. I don't want to keep going. There's many different ways. Anything but eating every single day, the same pattern every single day is a version of fasting. So that's all we're talking about with intermittent fasting. I would encourage you to try the 16-8, 5-2 pattern. So 5 days a week, you start eating at noon, you stop eating at 8, get adequate calories during that time. And on the weekends or the 2 days you choose to eat, breakfast is okay. Eating after 8 is okay. But you got to choose those 2 days wisely. And I think that that's going to be the most powerful thing. And if you're feeling it, throw in a 24-hour fast every other week. And again, that's easy. Have breakfast and lunch one day. Don't eat again till lunch the next day. That's a 24-hour fast. And most of it you did while you were sleeping. So, powerful. Raise your growth hormone by fasting. Growth hormone fixes and heals your body. Level out your sugars. Burn fat. Lose weight. All with simply changing when you eat. And we didn't even talk about what you're eating. So that's an important, powerful tool. Maybe get this book, this fasting guide by Dr. Fung. It's very detailed. It's not about how to fast. It's about all the different ways of fasting and the powerful benefits. Watch the video that has been made online. Nothing to do with me. Fasting, a documentary. You might have to add Dr. Fung, F-U-N-G's name in there too to really get it, to watch it and really educate yourself on fasting. I think you can make a big difference in your health. So come see us here at the Davis Medical Group or Body Goal MD, and we'll be happy to help you. You'll see the numbers and the address here, and our Facebook page, www.bodygoalmd.com, goes through a lot of the different services we offer in this clinic. Have a great day.